Sup everyone, we're back with more Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We are ending things off here by doing the final of the escapades. Taking place, I believe this is taking place after Case 5. It's either after Case 4 or after Case 5. Either way though, yeah, here we are. On Briar Road, April 30th. 30th. Yeah, comparing to the last few bits of the escapades, I believe this is at least a month later. So yeah, barely in the afternoon. Oh, these two. Ain't seen you in a while. This, Constable Rolly Beat reporting for duty. Thanks to the good offices of Lord Van Zykes, I'm back on my beat here in the capital, doing my best for the good citizens of London, sir. Ah, my Rolly, back in his Bobby's uniform. You couldn't look any more handsome if you tried. Ah, my love, you say the sweetest things. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. And man, back to the couple that cannot get a room if they tried. To us, Lord Van Zykes isn't the Reaper of the Bailey at all. Oh no, of course not. He's the patron saint of Bobby's. The patron saint? Oh yes, Pat, you're so right, my darling. Keeping us in pocket, he is. On my first day back on the job, what did I find in the gutter? A shillin', my love. A whole shillin'. Oh, Rolly, I always believed in you. I always knew one day you'd find some big, small change. With just that shilling, I could buy you a cheap bunch containing a single flower, my sugar. A single flower? Oh, how romantic! Oh my god. But I'm so sorry, Pat. Only moments ago, that shilling disappeared. Disappeared? But how, my love? How? Kitty, why is there a cat meowing? I think maybe... No, I'm sure. It was this girl here, sir. You swiped my precious shilling, didn't you? You cheeky little diver. Oh, hi there, Gina. Let me check something real quick. Okay, yeah. I just checked, because I was curious on the timeline of events for this episode in particular. Because... This recording, and I mean, this recording is going up and was recorded after Case 5. And in Case 5, at the end of Case 5 at least, Gina ended up getting arrested. And that case took place on April 17th. And this, as it said, is like April 30 or 31st, I forget which. But yeah, Gina, I guess, is out of prison in less than half a month, surprisingly. So yeah, good to know, I guess. Good to know that our girl is out of prison already. There was this girl here, sir. You swiped my precious shilling, didn't you, you cheeky little diver? I think I might have already said that one, but whatever. Blimey. You took your time getting round to me, didn't ya? I thought that lovey-dovey stuff weren't ever gonna end. So, shilling, you say, lifted from your word. Don't know nothing about that. Where's the evidence, eh? Some things will never change. Even though she got put to the frickin' brink. To the clink, whatever you want to call it. The prison. Some things never change. Right there, the evidence is dancing around on the back of your hand, young lady. You stole it from me. You lifted it from my pocket just now. You've got a nerve stealing from a Bobby. Cobblers, this cord's mine. How could you know? And anyway, how could you know if it was just taken, if it was taken just now or not? Dear me, you don't get it, do you? We've hardly got a penny to our name, so that coin felt as heavy to me as a bar of gold. Eh? I'm telling you, the moment it left my pocket, I knew. Felt myself get a few pounds lighter. Ah! Yep, that coin has got my blood, sweat, and tears all over it. Like how she's side-eyeing us. Or she's looking at the screen. What's the matter with you, eh, Mr. Norado? Me? Sorry? When a lady's in trouble, a true gent's supposed to be there to help. Straight away, not an hour later. This isn't my fault. I haven't stolen anything. I've just been sitting here watching the show. And what about you, Sholmes? I thought you were supposed to be a great detective. Dear me, Miss Lestrade. Lestrade. Whatever. However it's pronounced. You took your time getting around to me, didn't you? I thought that lawn dispute was never going to end. You only said give us a minute when we spotted you over the road and said hello. And that was 10 minutes ago, Guinea. We've just been standing here listening to you quarrel with this Bobby. You beg your pardon, madam. We shouldn't be troubling the public with police business. But the shilling belongs to us, doesn't it, Rolly? Of course it does, my love. It's just for you and me, my darling. Gah. This is supposed to be a nice stroll with Iris and Mr. Sholmes before afternoon tea. Why do we have to run into another fiasco on Briar Road? I don't really see how we could be of any help, Gina. There's no way of knowing who the coin really belongs to if it was just dropped in the gutter. I wouldn't be so sure of that, Runo. What? I have a feeling I might know the answer to the question of whose coin that is. Ah, my bright young fellow lodger. Let us hear your deduction. Well, there's actually a reason why I suggested a stroll down Briar Road. Oh? What reason? You see, I was here yesterday and, well, I dropped a little something. So I wanted to come and look for it while enjoying an afternoon stroll. Wait, you dropped something? You don't mean... It was the pocket money that Hurley gave me. What's this, Iris? You dropped that, did you? I'm sorry. I went to the market on Lime Street yesterday to pick up some herbs, you see. But on the way, I must have dropped it. The 1 shilling coin you gave me. Oh. A 1 bob bit? Yes, and when I thought back over the route I took, I realized I must have dropped it here. Constable, you haven't seen it, have you? It's all my pocket money and now it's all gone. I feel like Iris is guilt-tripping him into giving her a coin. Oh, well, I'm afraid I don't know anything about that, young lady. What rotten luck dropping your money out like that? Sorry. I dare say the constable and his companion could give you a run for your money with their wide eyes. If it's all the same to you, Mr. Sholmes, I think I'd prefer not to be used as the yardstick for looking guilty. Wow. Well, it's tough, really, innit, Iris? You dropped it, so it ain't yours no more. Anyway, you know what they say. What goes around comes around, so don't feel bad. Bad luck, Iris. Doesn't look like you're going to get your coin back. Oh, I can't believe I've lost it. And straight after Hurley gave it to me as well. Yes, regrettable indeed. I seem to recall that particular coin was rather significant. What do you mean significant? To be specific, it was especially significant to you, Renaud. Significant to me? You don't mean... It was the coin from last night's wager. The very same, my dear fellow. What's this saying? What wager? It was a game of poker. A duel between Hurley and Runo. Poker? What, that tricky card game, you mean? As a lawyer, I have the perfect poker face. You'll never be able to tell what I'm thinking, he said. But depriving Mr. Norado of his entire fortune was even easier than finding that missing thoroughbred. It was so infuriating. Reliving it now still makes me grit my teeth. Sorry, Iris. I had every intention of paying you back the money I owe you, but you'll have to wait, I'm afraid. Yes, I know. Don't worry. Next month is fine. Let me guess, Odo. Your whole fortune was 1 whole shilling. My entire monthly stipend. And I lost all of it. As I handed it over to Mr. Sholmes, I gritted my teeth so hard my gums started to bleed. Please, Renaud, don't exaggerate. That's a horrible image. What about a lawyer who borrows money from a 10-year-old girl? Now that's a horrible image. Why do I feel like my reputation with this couple has just fallen through the floor? Considering we're on the street, that's worse than the floor. I'd be falling to the frickin' Earth's core. There are few things more invigorating than taking a man for all he's worth. Don't be so pleased with yourself, Hurley. It's not as if Bruno ever had a chance of winning. Wait, what do you mean by that? Oh, I guess that means that Holmes cheated? Sholmes cheated, sorry. Well, using that special ink I developed, anyone could... Thank you, Iris. That will do. I'm sure this conversation is proving very dull for everyone. What's done is done. The game is over now. There's no point in crying over spilled milk. Special ink, you say? Well, sir, that sounds like the sort of risky business. It's right up my alley. Oh, Rolly, I love your dauntless spirit. You laugh in the face of danger. Get a room. Come on then, Iris, spill it. What's this special ink about, eh? Ah, well, it's what's sometimes called invisible ink. All you have to do is write the suit and number on the reverse side of every card. And with the aid of some special glasses, the whole game is laid bare to you. Wait, you were wearing glasses last night? You were wearing glasses last night, weren't you, Mr. Sholmes? Oh, his goggles. You said something along the lines of, my eyesight appears to have suddenly worsened. And the moment you failed to question that as odd was the moment I knew I had won the game. Mind games, was it? Trying to throw me off with your eccentric ways? So you're telling me Sholmes could see every call what I had? What? But that's not mind games, that's blatant cheating. My dear fellow, what an accusation. Would you honestly consider me a cheat? Please, I prefer a trickster. Whatever you call it, the game doesn't count now, understand, Mr. Sholmes? Dear me. Well, out of respect for the bad grace with which you take defeat, allow me to return your shilling. Did you hear that, Gina? So give it here. Eh? Leave me out of this. This here one bob bit was mine from the start, no question. Now, sir, that there one bob bit was lifted from this here Bobby's pocket only a few minutes ago. So you keep saying, come on then, where's the evidence? Eh? The law, right? It's all about evidence, on MS stuff. From the time I was on trial, that is. Pain in the ass, that was. You see, Mr. Naruhodo, you have tried to excuse in court and others will parrot it. Only whenever I do say it in court, it isn't as a trite excuse, you know. As I said, sir. That coin is on my blood, sweat, and tears all over it. That's right, it has. Rolly's blood, sweat, and tears are the evidence. Blood, you say? In that case, it's time for this. Oh, you're gonna use the frickin' blood machine thing? Do you think... Well, if there's any trace of blood on that coin, we'll soon know about it. Alright, Guinea. Hold very still. Taking the shot. At what? Took the shot. Coin. Look at that. See there on the coin? It's clearly changed color. In other words, there is blood on this coin. Once again, as I said, sir, that would be my blood, sweat, and tears. Ooh, wait, I've seen blood turn that color before. Yes, I know who it is. I know whose coin it is. What is it, Winterbanks? What? The rightful owner of this blood-stained shilling is... Renaud. Huh? Me? And from the appearance of the blood, I would say it is quite fresh. Left within the first 24 hours. The last 24 hours, I might say. within the last... then, in that case... So, this is the coin what Sholmes had off Odo last night in the poker game. Oh, Runo, do you mean you really did make your gums bleed? I told you I was so infuriated to lose I had to grit my teeth as I handed over the money. Mommy, you're as odd up as me by the sound of it. But I thought you had a proper job. Come on, Gina, just hand it over, would you? The shilling that's rightfully mine. Fine, alright then, just stop your bleeding staring. Yay, we got our cash back. I don't have a structured settlement, but I need cash now. Call Ryunosuke. 877, cash now. I finally have it back. It's like a dream come true. I nearly had that one in the bag and all. That's wonderful news, Reno. I'm so happy for you. Now then, as you promised, please hand it over. I'd like my money back, please. The shilling I lent you before. You did say that you'd pay it back out of this month's pocket money, didn't you? Oh, yes. Well then, I suppose. My dear fellow, do be kind to your gums. Looks like that shilling was always innocently taken from you, sir. For some reason, the phrase "serves you right" is floating around in my head. So, Iris, as promised, here is the shilling I owe you. Oh, you're paying me already? Well, thank you. Next month would have been fine, though. What's it all about, anyway? What are you lending Odo money for? Yes, well, actually, it's because I went to the Lime Street Market yesterday to buy herbs. For Runo. Herbs? Sorry, that was a weird one. Herbs? For Odo? Yes, the tea Mrs. Sato left behind is top-quality Gyokuro tea, but it's just so bitter. So when Iris suggested mixing it with herbs to make it more palatable, I asked her to buy me some. That's right. We made a special Japanese... I'm sorry. We made a special Japanese herbal tea with the leftover Gyokuro. I'm going to call it Susie's Special Blend. I do hope you'll all try it. The excruciating bitterness clings to the throat. If you can persuade the bright green gloop to leave the cup, why, it sounds quite delicious. Yeah, right. Oh, brother. Well, it would appear the shilling's brief adventures are now at an end. Adventures? Yes, the adventures of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. You must agree, my dear friend, that the coin has made a considerable journey since last night. Let's see, originally it was the coin I was supposed to give to Iris to pay for the herbs. But then, in our poker duel last night, it passed to you, Mr. Sholmes, who gave it to Iris as spending money. But then I dropped it here sometime yesterday. Then my beloved Rolly found it a little while ago and picked it up, before it was lifted from my pocket by this here diver. I then used my favorite gun to show up the blood that was on it, and let slip about Sholmes' little scam in his card game last night. The annulment of which resulted in the coin returning to the ownership of Mr. Naruhodo, allowing me to pay Iris the money I owed her after all, for the herbs she'd bought in order to make Susie's special blend tea. And now, after all that, the coin is resting safely in my pocket. Let me guess, it went missing. Sholmes, why are you being quiet? Oh. Yeah, you're right. That was an adventure. But what are we supposed to take away from it, eh? That this one shilling coin belongs to Iris and Iris alone, I think. I cannot fault your observation, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, you know what they say. What goes around comes around. Why do I get the feeling that Iris knew it was coming around to her from the very beginning? Priceless, as they say. Well then, my dear fellow, how about this evening we indulge in some bitter tea and a bitter rematch? But I don't even have any cash to burn. I'll even allow you to stake the coming month's spending money in advance. I fold. Good comedy. Man. I don't know, that wasn't too priceless. In fact, it was priced at 1 shilling. Alright, time for the final of the escapades. Date unknown. The Old Bailey courtroom. I guess this one takes place outside of the main timeline or something, I don't know. What is happening here? This court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Excuse me? Well, I can see why the date was unknown. Why the hell is Sholmes on trial? This is a most extraordinary case of murder. Counsels, I assume I may proceed? Yes, my lord. The defense is ready. Also, why is there no jury? At your discretion, my lord. Very well. I hereby call on the prosecution to make the case. The incident in question took place 2 days ago. Though I don't know what date that was, considering the date right now is unknown. Late at night, when the ground was blanketed with snow. The location of the incident was the residence of the accused, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Indeed, the now famous address of number 221B Baker Street, was it? The address may have enjoyed fame once, my lord, but will henceforth endure infamy for this grim crime. Yes, sir. Well put. The victim, a certain Madame Rosie, was found asphyxiated on the accused sofa. My word. Objection! But it's unclear as to whether the victim was actually killed in the defendant's suite or not. After all, when Mr. Sholmes left the room for only a brief moment, Madame Rosie somehow vanished herself out of his room completely. Who is Madame Rosie? Vanished herself, counsel. The victim. Quite true, my lord. There is but one adjoining door between my drawing room and the kitchen. Yet, having brewed some tea in the kitchen, I returned to find the room completely empty. There was nobody else present. Ordinarily, my fellow lodger Iris would have been at home. However, on the day in question, she had been invited to a meeting of a scientific society in the city. I'm afraid you have a propensity for exaggeration, sir. You claim the victim vanished herself, but really... Sorry, I was getting a drink of water. Sitting next to these flames and all makes me quite dehydrated. It seems to me entirely plausible that she chose to leave via the main entrance to her suite. As it happens, my lord, the door to the accused's room was locked at the time, from the inside. Very true, Inspector. As such, I can say with considerable surety that the victim did not leave via my front door. But what about, Aha, yes! She could have snuck out through a window. Objection! The windows in the room were not locked, it's true, and the victim had the opportunity. However, there was snow all around the building outside, and not a patch of it had been disturbed. Would my learned friend care to explain how the victim could have left without leaving a trail? So the victim, Madame Rosie, somehow vanished from the scene before she was killed. Naturally, I was alarmed by the sudden disappearance of my guest. So I summoned this gentleman who resides in the attic room above my own, and we took a cab to Scotland Yard. I can confirm that the defendant called for me, and I saw his suite on the way downstairs. And yes, I'm quite sure it was empty, just as Mr. Sholmes has said. When we reached the yard, this very detective happened to be there. Oh, well, yes, you see, I was just in my office for a while, having got back some time from some Important business. Yeah, I was on the toilet. And then, having explained the situation to the inspector, we traveled back to Baker Street together. At that time, there were no footprints in the snow around the building other than the ones we made.
Do I take it then, Counsel, that you personally witnessed the scene where the incident took place?
No, my lord. I went straight up to my bed to bed in my own room in the attic.
Inspector Gregson, however, was met with the most blood-curdling sight. On Mr. Sholmes' sofa, the vanished Madame Rosie, motionless. So the victim was already dead when you discovered her, Inspector?
No, my lord. Not dead, but not far off it. She mustered all her remaining strength to say these dying words. That rotter, Sholmes, will be the death of me. Ah yes, I overheard that remark at the time too, delivered in a rasping voice full of malice. No.
Those words indeed proved to be her last. The victim expired moments later, there on the sofa.
Why do I feel like the victim just passed out and isn't actually dead, considering that this is, you know, comedic relief side story?
The cause of death was identified as damage to the respiratory tract as a result of strangulation. Pray, does the accused dance to contest the inspector's account?
Certainly not. In fact, the inspector has done an unusually fine job of summarizing the salient points.
Sholmes will be the death of me. Damning departing words indeed. In her final moments, the victim named her killer. You, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Objection!
But the defendant had no reason to take the victim's life. Perhaps you could tell the court, Mr. Sholmes, who exactly this Madame Rosie was.
Ah, yes, of course. Did I never mention her to you? I'd extended an invitation to her that evening, though she is loquacious in the extreme. The most trivial matters quickly became a quarrel. I was only too pleased to leave her presence to make tea.
Great.
It would appear then that the accused did in fact have a motive for silencing his arrested guest permanently.
Objection!
Putting that tenuous motive aside, tenuous, you know, someone else can just think of how that word's pronounced. What about the other mysteries surrounding the case? Okay, let me actually learn how to speak again.
I'm inclined to agree with the defense. There remains a number of inscrutable details. The victim's alleged disappearance and subsequent reappearances leaving no trail of footprints, for example.
That's right. The crime described by the prosecution could never have happened.
Yet the victim named the accused in her dying breath. It seems to me that my learned friend has overlooked a significant detail here.
Nonsense! What have I overlooked?
The man in the dock, the so-called great detective, all too frequently makes the following bold claim. There is no crime beyond the realms of possibility, no mystery beyond my powers of reasoning.
Ah!
So, Mr. Sholmes, you will have no difficulty in explaining how the crime thus described could have taken place. Therefore, I propose a toast to the great detective upholding his name. Cheers.
Well, aren't you quite the showman? But of course. Why, to put my mind to the matter, the crime would immediately appear to all present to be entirely feasible. Please, Mr. Sholmes, whose side are you on? All you need to say is, no, even I can't think of a way that a crime like that could have been committed.
Let the accused's admission be noted by the court. Though the crime may appear impossible to us mortals of inferior mental capacity, this man alone, Crush claims to know exactly how it was done.
Hold it!
Now, hold on. That's a very fragile argument.
Thank you, counsels. I believe I've heard more than enough to proceed from my adjudication. The accused great detective did, in some inscrutable manner, willfully murder the victim, Madame Rosie. I therefore find the defendant guilty.
Rip. He dead.
Let this man be taken from this courtroom and, in some equally inscrutable manner, be sanctioned for his crimes. Court is adjourned.
Hold it!
What?
I already swung my gavel. Why are you speaking?
My lord, please. The truth about the mystery surrounding this case are known to another besides the great detective.
What's this?
On my words, Mr. Narrator, you are coming along wonderfully. You've deduced a fundamental truth about this case, I believe.
Which would be, Detective?
But the truth to this case is known. Only to the true culprit, obviously. Is that not so, Gregson?
I suppose, yes.
You don't mean... Are you suggesting, Mr. Sholmes, that you have an idea as to what actually happened that night? An idea, my dear fellow? I could explain the entire incident from start to finish, with not a single detail omitted.
Objection!
It seems the detective has failed to grasp the situation.
Pray, Mr. Reaper. Which of us has truly failed to grasp the situation, I wonder?
Then answer me this. You claim that prior to the incident the victim suddenly vanished without a trace from your room. If so, how exactly did Madame Rosie disappear?
Why, naturally, via the window. It was ajar, after all. But that can't be. The room is a whole story above street level. And anyway, no prints were found in the snow. There are any number of ways one can avoid leaving tracks in the snow, surely. Such as flying, for instance.
A fatuous notion. Into where do you propose the victim flew, Mr. Sholmes?
Is it not entirely plain? To the culprit's abode, of course. For having left my suite, that is clearly where Madame Rosie was murdered. Take a moment to consider the cruel irony, if you will. By her own volition, she flew directly to her death.
Objection!
Do forget, Detective, the victim's corpse is discovered on your own sofa.
No doubt because her killer carried her back there. But what about the lack of footprints in the snow again, then? There just weren't any. Other than our own from when we returned home ourselves. If by our footprints you refer to your own and mine, you are quite right. But there were those of another. On the night in question, there was one other person who could have conveyed the victim to my sofa. Oh, Gregson.
What? Good gracious, to whom do you refer, sir?
A man whose somewhat unavailing presence at the scene of the crime would be questioned by no one.
Unavailing?
Oh, you don't mean...
Indeed I do. A man who hastened to the scene directly upon learning of the incident at Scotland Yard.
Namely... you, Inspector Gregson. When you arrived at my address on Baker Street, you were carrying the half-dead Madame Rosie with you. You waited for a suitable opportunity and then laid the victim on my sofa.
You did what?
This is weird.
Objection!
We were with the inspector when he arrived. How could he possibly have been carrying the victim? We would have noticed. My dear fellow, a most obvious answer presents itself, does it not? The inspector is rarely, if ever, without his overcoat. The victim was simply conveyed in one of its many pockets. What? Shums, even you gotta realize how stupid that sounds. Yeah, I think everyone realizes how stupid that sounds.
I fail to see what makes this detective great. But I can say one thing with great certainty. A human body cannot fit into the pocket of an overcoat.
I believe you may all have fallen foul of a rather significant misapprehension.
What?
Madame Rosie was not a human.
I beg your pardon?
I mean, I guess that hasn't been said. Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Naruto. Something troubles you, perhaps? Whatever gives you that idea. Exactly what sort of creature was Madame Rosie? It is not apparent already. A parakeet, of course. Huh? A most self-conceited specimen, in fact.
A parakeet?
She was an incessant talker, I must say. Her manner was quite intolerable at times. Wont to turn every conversation to a quarrel. I thought to strangle the creature on more than one occasion. Of course I haven't. You had a quarrel with a parakeet. But of course, why else would she have chosen to fly from my window so uncordially that evening? To the abode of the inspector here beside me, no less. To Inspector Gregson's abode? But why? Because that was the parakeet's home, naturally.
What are you?
The inspector was called away from town for some days, so it was arranged that I would look after the bird. But it would appear that she was so overcome with a sudden yearning for her keeper, thus prompting her flight from my comfortable suite to the inspector's office at Scotland Yard. Well, Gregson, I believe it's high time you explained. Give us your account of what happened that night, sparing no details, of course. My God. Let the parakeet take the stand. We've done this before. Inspector Gregson?
It was an accident. I got back from being away that evening, you see. I just walked through the door of my office. I never imagined Madame Rosie would be on her way back to the yard as well. I slammed the door shut behind me just as she was trying to fly through it.
So Madame Rosie...
She got sandwiched between the door and the frame and fell to the floor. Never to move again. Because of me.
The parakeet's actually dead then? Oh shit.
Well, I never. I had to do something. Just when I was trying to think of a plan. You fellows arrived talking about some incident at Baker Street. I had to hide Madame Rosie in a hurry. So I stuffed her in my coat pocket and got in the cab with the pair of you.
Well, it actually was something that died. That's sad. Even if we never got to meet it, and this is just like non-canon.
What could possibly have motivated you to behave in such a manner, Inspector? Lord Strongheart, sir.
Lord Strongheart? Please tell me I didn't hear that right.
It was the Lord Chief Justice who asked me to look after the bird in the first place. She'd been living with the pigeons at the Supreme Court until then. But apparently the other birds had started to pick on her. So for the past 6 months or so, I'd been cared for in my office at the yard.
I see.
If anything happened to that bird, just imagine. No pay and no time off for the rest of my career. You mark my words, that's what's gonna happen. That's why well... But the victim's dying words, Inspector. The court heard earlier that Madame Rosie spoke the name of her assailant on her deathbed. That rotter, Sholmes, will be the death of me.
Indeed she did. Quite uncalled for, wouldn't you agree? But those words are your true feelings, are they not, Inspector? Clearly you speak of me often at your office at the yard, and this
in this disparaging manner. A manner that the merry parakeet took much delight in mimicking. Well, come on. I mean, have you read this month's edition of Rants magazine? I'm sorry. This is all absolutely true. Brother. Good lord. Something wrong, Lord Van Zykes. Oh no, nothing.
We haven't seen him from the front before. This is very weird.
I almost drifted off for a moment there.
Wow, we're seeing his inner thoughts?
It's hard not to drift off when you've been kept waiting 3 hours already. I wonder if we'll manage to meet with Lord Strongheart at all today. We may have to deliver the report on the Winterbank case that he asked him for on another day. Tell me, Inspector, what became of that bird? Madame Rosa, you mean? She had a narrow escape, but she's still alive. I delivered her back here not long ago, actually, on Lord Strongheart's orders. He's hoping the pigeons will accept her now. It was something of a shock to hear that she'd been crushed in the doorway of your office, especially as we were all under the misapprehension that Madame Rosie was a person.
Oh, so that was actually all real. I thought frickin' Van Zykes was having a frickin' dream about it.
Sorry about that. It was Lord Strongheart's demand that... Oh, good, you're here. I apologize for my tardiness. I'm exactly 3 hours, 24 minutes, and 57 seconds late. Oh, no, my lord. No, please don't trouble yourself. Nothing gives us greater pleasure than standing here doing nothing for hours on end.
Wow, that line sounds familiar.
Hardening. So, let's hear it then. Your report. The Winterbank trial is concluded, but this is far from over. It seems that Dark Forest and Lawyer and I have some shared destiny. We will meet again. Of that, I have no doubt. Did you see that, Lord Van Zykes? Did you? Madame Rosie went flying off among the pigeons there. Happy as Larry she was. Really, Inspector? You must be relieved.
Was there actually a parakeet among those pigeons? That's a real nice detail, so I need to keep an eye out next time. But yeah, and with that, we have finished all of the escapades. Episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And yeah. Next time on Great Ace Attorney 2, Resolve. We start up the second adventure at long last. Adios, ciao, and bye-bye. Signing off until next time. Ja matane.